See how you doing? It's Gordon I Dig Vinyl back out in my garden to talk about a couple of records I picked up recently. This is a celebration of charity shop blind buying. I've picked up two, both from the same artist, both I think from the same year. One is a keeper, one I don't like too much, so I'm going to be putting it up for sale to move it on. But really, I just want to take the chance to talk a bit about someone who's completely new to me, and that is the bold and bonkers. Can we say bonkers? The bewildering, the bedazzling, more B words. It's Frank Zappa. So this is an artist that I know almost nothing about at all, and I'm showing you two albums that I picked up the last time I was in my local charity shop, and I really love going in there more and more now because of the randomness of it all. As a record collector, there's nothing better for me than going somewhere where you're digging and you never know what you're going to find, but there's also quite a good chance you will leave with something new. So I was in there last week and just browsing around as usual, and I was surprised to see Frank Zappa. I don't normally see Frank Zappa around these parts, let's say, and these both of these records are in brilliant condition. They're really good. So I'll start with this one. This is the one that I think will be a keeper for me. Now I have to change my accent a little bit because this is in Scotland. This would be called Joe's Garage, which sounds like a place just over the road where I could get my MOT done and maybe get the brakes fixed. But of course it's not. It's Joe's Garage. Joe's Garage Act 1, which is a mad a mad rock opera. Is that the best way of putting it? From 1979. Unlike pretty much anything I've got in my collection up until now, hard to say what's this reminiscent of. So sort of concept album, certainly tells a story for sure. Maybe somewhere in the realms of an album like The Who's Tommy, for example, something like that. Musically, it's quite an interesting blend of styles. Some of it is quite straight up sort of rocky. There's loads of jazzy stuff. There's soulful music here. It's very funny at times. Sometimes I think the lyrics are just, well, they're really bonkers. Tells the story loosely of basically I think a guy he's forming a band at a time where governments are sort of cracking down on music, which I believe that's quite a common theme in some of Frank Zappa's work. Very critical of, and I like it. I do like that vibe. I like that sort of idea of criticising authoritarian governments because of the I don't know, I suppose the effects of their crackdowns on the ordinary people. So those kind of basic ideas certainly speak to today very well. But it's hugely humorous though. It's he described it as I think a stupid story brought to life musically. Some of the lyrics are very close to the bone. It's puerile, sort of sexually explicit, I suppose you could say. Very comical though, I think, as well. We've got songs like the Wet T-shirt Night, Why Does It Hurt When I Pee. Lucille Has Messed My Mind Up, which is a beautiful, almost like a kind of forlorn love song. Very soulful. For my first listen to Frank Zappa, he's got an amazing soulful voice, and it comes across in a song like Lucille Has Messed My Mind Up very well. But stuff like Why Does It Hurt When I Pee it's kind of ludicrously hilarious and daft, and does kind of fit in this kind of idea of how music is bad for you, which is the kind of vibe, the idea of this imaginary government. Frank Zappa makes a kind of point of talking about how that's the real deal for certain people across the world at the time it was released, which I think is quite interesting. But it certainly gets across an interesting message about morals and the power of governments, and he also touches on kind of religion as well. He does it in a kind of wildly over the top and comical way, but musically I like it. So this is an album that I'll keep. I got it for 15 quid. It's in great condition. It says 20 on the back, but I kind of bartered them down a wee bit, but it's in great condition. It looks like it's been well looked after. So as an introduction to Zappa for me, I knew nothing much about him at all except he's sort of avant-garde, probably not the kind of musician that I would normally be drawn to, but I like that a lot. Now, I bought this one as well though at the same time, in equally awesome condition, and funnily enough I didn't know it, but I think this was released in the same year. Now, I think we all know Zappa's massively prolific, but this was an interesting one for me because it's, well, same year but nothing like this one. So this is Sleep Dirt, which is, I think it's all instrumental. It's something that I've listened to once so far, and I didn't think it was that accessible to my ears. I like a bit of jazz. I certainly do like a bit of jazz. I like a bit of jazz fusion, jazz rock, whatever. But this one seems a wee bit too, just a wee bit too left field, let's say, for me. No particular criticism of it, but I just don't think it's really in the lane that I am listening in these days. So it's interesting. It kind of shows off his musical chops for sure, but I don't think it's a kind of, and I don't mind a difficult listen, so to speak. But this is kind of verging into the, dare I say it, sort of sounds a little self-indulgent. That's probably harsh. Some of it I do like. There's a kind of cocktail jazz, lovely piano, and the second track, Flambe. But I think the electric guitar work of Frank Zappa here, yeah, just probably not quite for me. It was interesting looking online. I looked at 2 reviews. The first review absolutely slated this, talked about it being one of the worst in his kind of discography, and the very next one I read said this is, you know, a real underrated classic for Zappa. So it just goes to show. I think Frank Zappa's an artist where you don't really sit on the fence. I'm not too sure if he does sort of okay, you know, sort of 6 out of 10 sort of stuff. I think you probably either really like his work or probably you don't at all. So for me, I picked these both up in the charity shop, Joe's Garage and Sleep Dirt. I'll keep one, and I think I'll just probably put this back out into the vinyl universe for someone else to enjoy. But you know, that's quite a good hit rate, and it makes me continue going down to my charity shop. It's been a source of all kinds of weird stuff recently. I've picked up things like Dutch new wave, some nice Scottish indie, some cool country music that likes a Connie Francis. There's always something different, always pretty reasonably priced, but Zappa was, I have to say, a bit of a surprise. So a quick share of these 2 albums, and I'd be curious to know what folk out there in the VC think of Zappa. I don't really know anyone who kind of talks about him that much, so I'm guessing there'll be people out there who really love Frank and folk who probably don't go near him. This one I like, so I'm looking for recommendations as to where to go next. I don't want to listen to another album quite like this, so I don't think I want to go and get the next 2, Acts 2 and 3, but I wouldn't mind checking out some of his other stuff. So anyway, hope you enjoyed. Whatever you're doing, take it easy, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks for now.